Great to have you all on board, and we'll get underway, seeing as it is bang on the hour, which is always a wonderful thing. So a reminder to everyone that we do have a webinar tomorrow for those of you in the sales field. We're going to be looking at the advantage of speed in sales and how to get fast enough to win. It definitely is a very changing world out there, and being able to adapt is going to be important. So we'll be looking at some of the core principles that haven't changed, but also some of the new stuff that we need to be doing if we're going to continue to be successful in the sales field. Now, I've mentioned that this is going to be that we're only going to be doing another 3 of these, and we'll finish doing them on Friday. And it reminded me of sort of like this expectant countdown. And I went to Aurora boarding school for both junior school and high school, so that's a picture of this year's intake into my junior school. It was a school called Lafordia, out in the bush. And then this is the school I went to many miles away from home, probably about as far as Palmy is from Auckland, actually, in a very rural place called Escadini. And we used to do 3 months at home and 3 months at school and 1 month at home. So we'd go away for 3 months and then get to go home for a month for the school holidays. Then you had 3 terms, unlike what we do here. And towards when you start to get closer towards the, going home, we used to do these little countdown caterpillars. I'm sure many of you have done those before. And whenever you've got something expectant to look forward to, it does help to be able to look forward to this whole idea of looking forward. I started off these talking about the importance of hope, talking about the importance of having a vision, having a plan, being able to look forward to something when you're going through a long, tough, dry patch. And so my question to you this morning is, as you start to look at the fact that next week we're going to go into level 3, what's going to be different for you? For many people, us included, of course, level 3 is going to be, what did somebody once said? They said to me, it looks a lot like level 4 with takeaways. I thought that was lovely. I don't think anyone I'm going to be wanting to queue at McDonald's. I can just see it's going to be down the road. People sort of doing retail therapy and treating themselves to takeaways. So I think it'll be very good for McDonald's in that space. But what I want to do today, this morning, is to encourage you that while it might not look terribly different right here, right now, there's a slight shift. We've moved a little bit. And the future depends on what we do in the present. That lovely quote by Mahatma Gandhi. The future depends on what we do at the present. You cannot change your past, but your future is always in your hands. I love this quote by Zig Ziglar. It says, when there is hope in the future, there is power in the present. And since hope is the foundational quality of all change, there is considerable reason to be excited. I love that little thing. Hope is the foundational quality of all change. When we can have an expectant hope, it makes it a lot easier to manage. So one of the things I wanted to do is, in the change that's coming, what are you personally looking to do to make the most of that change? And one of the best things that we can do is to actually look outside of ourselves. I talked about this yesterday with the victim victor, looking outside of ourselves. And I saw a little advert, and it really challenged me on who could you say hi to, who could you connect with, who could you write to, drop a text to, do a FaceTime call, greet or smile. I saw this on LinkedIn. I don't know how many of you have seen it, but Cabrit is running this campaign in the UK at the moment. It's called Donate Your Words. And as part of their campaign, they're donating all of their words. So all of the money that they would normally spend printing their name onto the wrapper is going to the Age UK. And this is what they shared, that there's a crisis in the UK. 1.4 million older people struggle with loneliness. 225,000 of them often go a whole week without speaking to anybody. Now, this was before COVID kicked in, so you can only imagine how much worse those figures have got. And when I watched the video, I was really challenged around, as we look forward, as we have this hope that tomorrow is going to be better, tomorrow is going to be a new kind of different, an exciting kind of different, how can we share and spread some of that positivity, some of that optimism, some of that hopefulness going forward. And so I just saw a chat pop up, just having a look. Oh, great. And the hope is a foundational quality of all change. I don't know how many of you know this man over here. His name is Martin Seligman. He discovered something called learned helplessness. Now, when I looked at what I wanted to share this morning, and I was reading through, so Martin is the person who founded positive psychology and many of those things over there. But in his study around the whole positiveness, this being optimistic, he came across the fact that some people have had such tragic things happen to them that actually they learn to be helpless. And I wanted to share that with you this morning, that maybe within yourself, or maybe there's some people that you meet with, or maybe there's some people in your team who you just want to shake sometimes and go, come on, let's get on with it. And I found this article just so incredibly interesting. He found that if animals are subjected to difficult situations that they cannot control, they stop trying to escape. And the really interesting thought around this, if you remember, a key message that we've been putting out in these Thoughts Over Coffee is focus on what you can control. It is very easy to get sucked in and drawn in to looking at stuff you can't control. And it's amazing how your emotions can just go whoosh. I saw two things recently. Simon Bridges' comment after Jacinda Ardern's announcement really got me hot under the collar. I was just quite indignant around it. And then I saw on LinkedIn a couple of times, now there have been a number of posts on it, is that the Member of Parliament responsible for small businesses is recorded saying in one of the sessions that she really can't understand why businesses are struggling so much. It just showed that they hadn't planned their finances, and surely they had 3 months' income that they could just, be holding on the side. And the complete lack of connection with the group that you're meant to be representing in Parliament just dumbfounded me. I found myself, I don't normally comment at all on political posts. I keep well away from that. But I found I just had to make a comment in that space. It got me so hot under the collar that I felt that I needed to say something. And so I very respectfully said, look, I don't know the full context of the little snippet that I've watched, but I do feel that, one, she's never owned a business. She hasn't been in business. She was an accountant in her previous life. And her comments were very idealistic. Okay. But what I noticed within myself, and why I'm sharing the story with you, is that I had started to focus on things I couldn't control. And it's amazing how quickly that can roller coaster you. So in line with that, I went ahead and looked at what could be done in this space, because human beings react in the same way. If you constantly feel like you're in a situation you cannot change, a situation you cannot escape, you actually lose hope. And the loss of hope means a loss of action, because if there's no point, well, why bother anyway? Okay. So with that over there, what I wanted to do is I wanted to have a look at some tips that we could share with you in case you and or somebody that you know might be in this space where they're just feeling so overwhelmed by everything that's out there that they actually just don't know what to do. And so I went to the Psych Central, they're a very reputable thing, and then they talked about finding hope. 6 steps towards finding hope. And the 6 steps are these. When you have no hope or any or situation, what they've noticed is that you won't look to change. So we actually need hope if we're going to change. And so how can we actually find this hope? Okay. Change by nature is very difficult. It goes up and down. I'm reading a book by Seth Godin at the moment called The Dip. And in The Dip, he talks about the fact that many of us, when we start something new, it's exciting, and then we hit the hard bit and we sort of go through this dip. And he talks about how the psychological impact of going through the dip before you can come up the other side, and how that often is the thing that filters many people out. Change by nature is ever changing, all right? And if we're going to get through it, we've got to be able to commit to the ups and downs. So one of the key things is to have a clear path. If you want to have hope yourself, or you want to give hope to somebody else, help them find a clear path, clear, logical steps. What's the next thing? What's the next thing? What's the next thing? and just focus on what do you need to do next. Just do the next right thing. Okay, that's what we need to focus on. Please, if somebody is feeling helpless, it's very important to be able to explain to them logically why what's coming is the next best thing for them to do. Then look for role models who have maybe found the same solution. Being able to look to people who've been through what you've been through, or been through what that person's been through. Somebody that they can relate to. There's a really great website. If you're struggling to find somebody who's perhaps gone through an adversity, this website over here, Hope Exchange, is very powerful. Okay, what it does is it gets people to share their story, what they've been through, their ups, their downs, their emotions, and it gives people something to relate to so that they can get through it. I know that I've been incredibly inspired by my sister-in-law who lost her daughter, and watching her go through that grief cycle that I talked about the other day. But the thing that I find so inspiring is how now that she, I wouldn't say is out the other side, because I don't think you ever get out the other side if you lose, a child, but she is in a position where she now reaches out and helps other people who are going through the same thing. She's able to say to them, those waves of sorrow will always be there, but they stop crashing into you so much. And so is that something you could do? Look for role models who have gone through similar things. A very important thing to do is to do what you can do. It doesn't need to be big. There's an excellent talk here. I saw this comment over here. It said, do what you can do. When you're in despair, take one step that is out of your routine to help break a sense of powerlessness. And one of the first comments it makes is make your bed. And I've talked about this before. This excellent talk here by Admiral McRaven. If you want to go look it up, the University of Texas, I've left a little text in there so you can see it. He gave an excellent talk how they train Navy SEALs, and one of the very first things they do is they get them to make their bed. It psychologically sets them up for the day. When they get to the bed at the end of the day, there's something that's been made perfectly. It's something that's complete. And so it's a good top and tail, if you like, for your days. The fourth thing is around... Thanks, Alex. It's a very, very good talk indeed. If you haven't watched it, I strongly do encourage you to do that. The fourth thing to do if you want to give hope is to perform acts of kindness. And I've talked about this quite a few times, the ARC, the acts of random kindness. One of the most inspiring videos I've watched for a very, very long time comes from Life Inside the Vest. And I'll share the link with you on this. But what it does, it talks about the power of doing something small, just a small little thing, the ripple effect of that. There's an excellent TED talk, it's a TED blog. It's called The Magic of Kindness. And this is a school teacher here. And what she did is that she used to give out little cards. So there's little cards behind her. It would have something on it, and it would say something like, call your mum or dad, or speak nicely, or pick something up for somebody, or put a piece of rubbish in the bin. It would be a tiny little action. But by getting her kids in the classroom to constantly focus on doing kind things, what you find is it made a huge difference. And if you've never watched this video before, I really encourage you to watch it, this one over here. It's called Life Vest Inside. This is the link over here, Life Vest Inside. It's a very short video. It's about somebody who does something kind for somebody, and the ripple effect of it, a tiny small bit of kindness meant that person then did something kind for somebody who did something kind for somebody who did something kind for somebody. And it's just so well done. And so do encourage you to have a look at that. What could you do, a small little thing that has a ripple effect beyond your wildest imaginations? Now, a key part of being kind is to stop judging yourself. I talked a lot about the little voices in your head, okay? How would you treat somebody else in your situation? Really, really important question to ask yourself. If somebody else did this, if somebody else said this, how would I treat them? Am I treating myself in the same way? Are you being compassionate to yourself? And then if you have a faith, and this is one of the key things. So faith, I found, has radically transformed my life. And whatever your faith might be, having a faith gives you hope. Faith, by the very nature, is believing in something you cannot see. And if you are in a place where you've lost hope, finding somebody who has a faith, who has a hope for a future that's better, it can be a very great place to start. And just being able to voice your questions and your confusion or anything else around that and share it with them and find out why do they have something that they're holding on to that is foundational for them. And then the key thing, and there's so much research around this, is to practice mindfulness. Being able to be calm, being able to be at peace with yourself, and being able to be in the present moment. This is something I'm still working on. I'm an active relaxer, and I found mindfulness has been very good when I can do it, but it's something I'm still working on. Living in the present moment, being completely present in the here and now. Being able to enjoy life for what it is. Okay. There are many exercises on the web, and there are many free resources around mindfulness. There's dozens of TED Talks around it, and the power it has to calm your brain, change your focus. And mindfulness is credited with being able to help you to focus on what you want more of. If anyone's got any questions or answers, please do let me know. Chuck them in. Like Kerry said, I often talk too quickly at this point and go, send me your questions and answers. Oh, there's nothing there. Let's move on. So if you do have anything, please feel free to type it in there. Otherwise, please, if the webinar does resonate with you for tomorrow, please do jump on. And we're going to be finishing Thoughts Over Coffee on Friday, although we will continue doing our learning bites and posting inspirational stuff and continue doing blogs and things like that. And oh, thanks for that comment, Alan. That's great. And obviously we've got our free sales training. If we can help in any way, please do let us know. We do a lot of training for companies online, and so there's also funding available if you're interested. If your company hasn't already claimed it, there is funding available for people to get online training. So please do jump online, have a look at our website, and we look forward to catching up with you tomorrow. And yeah, have an absolutely marvelous day today, all. Very much look forward to seeing you tomorrow, and we'll catch up with you then.